Welcome to Visions of Success Internet Talk Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Fred Simkovsky. You know, someone once said that success is 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. Well, I believe that you need just as much inspiration, if not more, than just perspiration. I mean, after all the sweat in the world isn't going to make you successful unless you are inspired. This is the place to go to seek insights, inspiration, advice, tricks, tips on how to attain the life and career success you've always dreamed of, wanted, and desired.
Today, I am talking with James Maioho. Okay, now, let me tell you something about James, because this gentleman is truly fantastic, okay? How do I know that? I read his book. Okay, he is first and foremost a full-time single dad of 2 amazing children, only from an amazing father. What else? Okay, principal instigator of the Madco Group, a strategic change firm, very successful. He is also the author of the book Winners Give Up. We're going to talk about that book today. He's a contributor to Motivational Minds magazine and a certified expert at selfgrowth.com. Now, how are you today, James?
I am well, thank you.
Excellent. Today we're going to talk about his book, Winners Give Up. Now, let me tell you something. I read this book. Okay, first of all, I never knew there were 53 ways that you could screw up your success. But having read the book, I know exactly how not to screw up any time in the future. So at the end, James is going to tell you how you can get this fantastic book. All right? So, James, let's start this interview with, Winners Give Up, your first book. What drove you to write a book to begin with?
Yeah, that's a great question. The necessity is the honest answer on several levels. If we're talking about winners, I had gone through a period where I had probably made every bad decision and every anti-winning decision a person could make. and had gotten myself into a situation where my daughter and I'd become really unemployed. And we'd been living out of state, and I tried to reestablish something back in my home state of Michigan, and we ended up having to move back into my childhood family farm with my father, which was just really devastating to me personally and emotionally. I just couldn't get anything going. We were in a period where I had gone from really making a substantial living to a situation where we lived on $10 a week.
Wow.
For food. And finally having to break down and accept welfare for a while. And I couldn't get an interview to save my life, even with the amount of business experience I had. And I thought, I have got to do something. I have got to try to put something down or do something positive. So, I said, well, I've got this time. I've got to fill it. And I had all of these reflections about what I wasn't doing right or what I had experienced other people not doing right, just to try to get some positive momentum in my life. And that was really the basis of where the origins of the book came from and why I sat down and started plugging away.
Yeah, it's always interesting, okay? When everything is going okay and we're flying high, we never think about this stuff. And then, of course, when something goes wrong or something goes amiss or you have a streak of bad luck, if you will, and then you got to really sit down and you got to take a look at yourself and you got to say, what is going on here? So it's really about a time of reflection, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was really a painful process to get this started, and with self-acceptance and realization, it was like pulling rusty nails on the side of a dilapidated barn to try to get the first couple chapters out. And once it started going, then it kind of got better. But it is all about reflection and looking at what wasn't working for me and for other people that were sharing experiences with me.
Yeah, it's really about taking the time to be honest with yourself. And let's face it, we all look in the mirror every day, and sometimes we just don't want to see what we're actually viewing until we're forced to look. Which brings really to the premise of the book. What was your intention of the book for our audience?
Well, the title, is a play on words. Winners give up. Well, traditionally, our paradigm is thinking, well, winners, they don't give up, they don't quit, they just keep plugging along. And it was really about shedding the old paradigms and shedding baggage and giving up the things that were becoming either detrimental to your own success or winning, as it were, whatever vision that was, and being a block to you getting from point A to point B in your life, and kind of reflecting on what some of those obstacles could be and giving those things up and freeing yourself from that baggage.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so great about the book, okay? Because, yes, it's 53 ways, if you will, that we sabotage ourselves. But what's interesting about your book, which I found so exciting and so motivating, was you really don't dwell on, okay, so you've been doing this, okay? What you do show is, for the person, first of all, I recognize what we're talking about. After you recognize what we're talking about, here's some examples of how you can get around it, the things that you could be doing that you're not doing. So, I think the greatest part of the book and what you do with your experience and your knowledge and your ability is you help people to understand, okay, look, this is the baggage I've been carrying around, and you give them a chance to cut the handle on that baggage, throw the bag away, and really move forward.
Yeah, this book has 53 examples of how we self-sabotage, but there's hundreds more. There's a myriad of ways that we self-inflict stoppages to realizing our success. Just a myriad of ways.
Yeah, but I think you really bring to fore the really most, if you will, the most trite and bad ways that we spend we spend way too much time worrying about what happened instead of thinking about what should be happening and how could we make it happen. And I think that's what's so great about the book. It's a way of saying to people, look, we know this is what's been going on in your life. Forget about it. I'm from Brooklyn. Forget about it, okay? Move on. You got so much talent, you got so much ability, you got so much support around you, okay? Use it, and move forward. That's what really the intention of the book is, isn't it? Move forward.
Yes, it is. To really assess where your situation is now, to take an honest reflection of what is going on, as well as an honest reflection of where you want to go, and use these examples, and not all of them are going to hit home with everybody, and the book is kind of meant to be read through and then revisited.
Right.
As these certain topics become either more relevant or relevant in your life, and they're really just a basis, a springboard to get one to reflect and try to shift some of the paradigms that they're in.
Absolutely.
and move forward from where they're at.
Absolutely. So, which brings us to our next question is, why do you think people really fail? I mean, other than the baggage thing.
Well, the baggage thing is a big part of it. That's
Yes.
That covers a large spectrum, but I think at the end of the day, people fail only because they don't believe in themselves.
Ah.
And I think that through maybe some of this reflection, hopefully this could be inspirational and some way to have, somebody either pursue or get into a position where they're assessing themselves and believing that whatever it is they want to do is accomplishable, that they can overcome whatever challenges in their mind at the moment. And the challenges really, I believe, are generated in our own mind. These obstacles are there, and we need to process through them somehow, either to be shocked out of them, to be led out of them, or to do it organically with your own self-reflection. But somehow, some way, you've got to shift the way that you're looking at things right now and take that first step forward towards wherever it is you want to go. And I think people don't believe in themselves enough to do that.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Okay, it does come down to, who am I? Where am I going? Where do I want to be? And the first thing, like you're saying, okay, if I'm hearing right, is you got to start by saying I can do it. You got to get rid of can't. You got to get rid of couldn't. You got to get rid of shouldn't. You got to get rid of all the buts, as Rosie Picard, someone else on my show, once said. You got to get rid of the B-U-T-S's, okay? And once you get rid of all that, okay, it's like a new day dawn, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think people have to really be honest with themselves. At least I had to, in my personal situation, to kind of decide what truly is their goal, what truly, let's say, for the example of the book, what winning is to them. And that comes with sometimes some honesty. And people sometimes fail because they're not really working towards the right goal, or the goal that they really truly desire to go after in their heart of hearts. And I think coming to that point as well, and defining that, standing up for what you really want to do or be as a person, defining that, and then taking baby steps towards that can really start motion in the right direction.
Absolutely. So, for our audience, because I think this is an important question, okay, how should people start really defining winning? Because I think that's a problem, because everybody's got a different definition of what winning is about, and I think we really, especially in your book, you do this great job. Okay, tell our audience, how should people define winning?
That's another great question, and I think that people have to stop for a second, take a deep breath, and forget about all the other ties that they have around them and all their other perceptions, and really take a look at what is important to them and define their own, make their own definition of winning. Is winning being a great parent or having good relationships with your kids? Is it, in some cases, being the CEO of a company? Maybe that is, maybe that's not. Is it just being successful and having satisfied customers if you're in a job or a salesman? Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe our definition of winning is we should just take a path that makes us happy.
Yeah, God forbid we should be. God forbid we should be happy, right?
Right. individual is to walk the path of least resistance, stop swimming upstream against other people's definitions of what we should want to make us happy, and find the things little by little, step by step, that make us happy. And when you are doing that, and when things start flowing for you, and you are feeling good inside and making other people around you feel good by your actions, whether that is implementing something in business, whether that's giving back to the community, whether that's just taking care of a sick friend or a child or something, that's winning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think you make a great point there, okay? Yeah, what's going to make you happy in life, okay? And I think the one great thing you do in the book, okay, of Winners Give Up is you really bring that point across. Stop worrying about what other people say, what their definition of winning is, okay? You know, we're bombarded, you know, on the TV, on the radio, on the internet, every type of communication. They're telling us how to be a winner, you know, how to lose weight, how to be successful, how to be this, how to be that. And the fact of the matter is, the people like yourself who are successful, who make it happen, who write these great books, really say to yourself, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's like, what's going to make me happy? What's important to me? And you forget about the people around you and what's going on around you, and you really take the time to say, so what does that mean to be happy? What does that mean to be successful? What does that mean to be a winner? That's what it's about, isn't it?
It absolutely is about that. And there's a chapter in the book, early on in the book, Winners Give Up Bad Associations, Partnerships, and Relationships. And before you take the first step, really, of going towards your goal, you've got to get yourself in the best possible mental situation that you can. One is clarity of thought. Two is surrounding yourself with positiveness, positive people, people of a like ilk, and trying to cut out any of the negativity that's surrounding your life, whether that be cutting ties with toxic relationships or turning off the TV and the negative advertising and stop watching the news, and generating your own positive attitude first. And then, again, defining what it is that is going to make you happy and taking that next step towards that.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point, okay? You know, you gotta give up all that negative stuff around you. I'll be honest with you. I very rarely watch the news because, you know, when you watch the news on the TV, it's somebody got shot, somebody got run over, somebody killed somebody else. It's like you never hear anything really positive. And in some cases on the internet, you read that same negative stuff. And I think when I turned my life around about 2 years ago, okay, it's when I dropped. I got rid of the negative people that I was around. I got rid of the negative situations I was in. I got rid of watching all that and reading about all that negative stuff. And like you say, I really started talking with positive people, working with positive people, doing positive things, and I tell you, that positivity is contagious, isn't it?
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And if there's something that you want to do that is maybe outside of the circle of acceptance of the people that you're around, those are people you might want to move away from. And I think getting yourself into that situation, starting from that ground zero of a positive place, it's a really hard thing to do.
Oh, yeah.
But once you have to believe in yourself enough, you have to like yourself enough, you have to want to get wherever it is you're going bad enough to do that for yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I tell you, that's the one thing. You know, you know what's nice about the book? Yeah, it's 53 ways to really turn your life around and really become a winner. But you know what? It's not a tome. It doesn't take you like, oh God, I'm going to have to spend 3 days reading this. No, I read the thing, and I'm not a speed reader, and I read the thing in an hour. And after I read the thing in an hour, I said, wait a minute, I must have missed something. And I went back and I read it again. And I tell you, as successful as I am with the talk show, and I've been in my life, in my career, okay, that was the best 2 hours I think I've spent in a long time. A lot of it was saying, you know, Doc Fred, you're doing the right things. Other stuff was saying to me from the book, you know what? You've been doing that for too long. Give it up. And I think that's what people are going to get out of the book. The fact that they're going to see in themselves some of the stuff that really doesn't work for them, some of the stuff that can work for them, and I think it gives people the motivation that says, guess what? I can do this too. Okay, wasn't that the intention of the book also?
Absolutely. You know, at the end of the day, people just have to believe that you can do whatever it is that you want to do.
Yes.
And
yes.
You just need to take a deep breath, take that first leap of faith, and decide what that is for yourself. Don't let anybody else's ideas decide that for you. Decide that for yourself, and then take that first step. Take that leap of faith. And it can open doors and open a great, great realm of possibilities for you, however you define that.
Yeah, and I think that's the one thing that made my coaching career so far so popular and so accepted. And I think it's the same reason why you're so accepted and so popular and so successful is we don't go into our relationships trying to tell people what to do. We help people see what's going on in their life so they can make the right decisions, and then they can take the right course of action. I mean, I can't dictate, you can't dictate to other people how they should live and what they should do and what they shouldn't do. They've got to do it themselves. What we do, and tell me if I'm wrong, what we do is we show them the alternatives, and then they have to decide on which way to go.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, people that and I've heard your story and know what you've come back from. People that have had experiences like us, it's just my intention to share that. And if there's something that you can relay to somebody and they can pick something up from it that helps them, you know, they'll decide what that is. But then it is up to them to move forward from that. But
Absolutely.
Hopefully, by being an example, you know, like you are with your clients and with anybody that listens to you, just by relaying kind of this is how things worked for me, and people will decide what works for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, when I was a manager, okay, and I was doing a lot of training and development all around the world in 6 different countries. You know, there was always some manager that said to me, so how can I motivate the people who work for me? And I always used to tell them, look, there's only so much you can do to motivate other people. People have to be motivated themselves. Your task as a manager, your task as a leader, your task as a friend and a confidant is not to motivate them, but to help people become motivated. Because as you've been saying through this whole interview, it's really has to come from us inside.
It does. And I've worked all over the country and maybe close to 300 other companies doing this and trying to shift paradigms. And the best thing that I could say about leadership or being a manager or about motivation is just be a good example and help people where you see the holes on. Like, you can't force anybody really to be motivated to do things. You can only give them the tools and the empowerment. And in this case, with this book, people kind of have to find the empowerment for themselves, but hopefully this book will give them some tools to help, implement that empowerment.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's do a quick recap here because we've spoken about a lot of things today, okay? So the first thing starts with, okay, what's really important to you? How do you figure that out? You got to figure out, where am I now? Where do I want to go? Okay, how am I going to get there? I got to get a plan to move forward. I got to give up all that baggage that I've been carrying around. You got to look in the mirror and really be honest with yourself. Okay? You've got to believe in yourself. I think this is the biggest thing you said today that's so important. You gotta believe in yourself. It's not about what other people believe. It's not what other people want you to do. You've got to figure out what are the obstacles that keep tripping me up. How do I get rid of them? How do I not only believe in myself, but I gotta be honest with myself. Okay? And you got to figure out what's going to make you happy, excuse me, and it's all about being positive. And the more you're positive, the more the people around you are positive. And I tell you, it's the best virus you can ever pass to each other. Is that what we spoke about today, James?
Yes, that's a great way to recap it. And
excellent, excellent. Now, James, this is important. You've even got another book coming up, I Am, in parentheses, Not a Salesman, which again is that wonderful humor you have, okay? And we want people to know about that. But, James, tell people how they can contact you if they want to talk to you, how they can get your book, Winners Give Up, okay? Websites, anything else you want to let them know so they know how to find out who James is.
The easiest thing to do is go to winnersgiveup.com. You can order the book there. All of my contact information is there. If you want to email me with questions, I'm happy to address specific things or get back with you. Also, the firm's website is madcogroup.com, MEDKO Group, GROUP.com. But if you go to winnersgiveup.com, you'll find everything that you need.
Excellent, excellent. And when is that next book, I Am, parentheses, Not a Salesman? Is that out, or is that going to be coming out?
I'm planning for that to be done and out at the end of the summer.
Excellent, excellent. I'm going to look forward to it. Okay. James, this has been absolutely fantastic. I think if people don't get excited and go out and get the book, okay, I'm going to have to really start chasing after people. Okay? James, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you, Dr. Fred. I appreciate you and appreciate the show.
Remember to go to my website, lifecareerbusinesscoach.com, for more information and assistance you may be looking for. There is a link there for this show, Visions of Success Internet Talk Radio, where you can listen to replays and more interviews on a regular basis. And be sure to subscribe to my monthly newsletter for more great learning and insight. This show airs every Friday and was hosted by amazing Women of Power Radio Network and in conjunction with Raven International Network. Have a great day and you can get it done.